I'm from the future, so if you have any questions after the interview, you can ask me.
Do I die young?
Sorry, we're going to the database.
Okay. Please say it.
You die when you're 56. Is that young?
That's good enough for me. I'll fucking take it, honestly.
Okay, good. So my first question is, what is your favorite cheese?
I have to go pepper jack. Pepper jack, yeah, you know where it's at.
Dude, we have some like-minded individuals here. Personally, I'm a fan of all cheese. All cheese is all cheese and shapes and sides.
Yeah, cheese.
Yeah. Next question. What's your opinion of the war in Ukraine? Do you think Russia deserves to go in and illegally invade?
No, I'm just against killing people. I'm against genocide in general.
Oh, okay.
I just don't think anybody should be killing anybody.
Next question. What can you tell me about antinatalism?
All
right, next question. So there's a new president, right? Trump, right?
I think so.
You think that he's going to do you think he's gonna do a lot, or do you think it's he's just gonna fuck around and be like, oh?
I think he's gonna fuck around and find out.
Like the stuff he's saying about
I think he's gonna fuck around and find out.
He's just doing.
There's already been 2 assassination attempts. He's bound to find out.
So it's gonna happen again.
Wait, can you tell the future though?
All right, and we are live. Welcome back, guys. This is our new podcast. This is the sister podcast to Cheese Talk, as we all know. This is Afraid of Hungary. Welcome, guys, to Afraid of Hungary. I'm joined here by my good friends. They go by. Let's start with you, Cipher. Well, welcome, Cipher, to the pod.
Hello.
What's good? We have Rogerout 1234 as well. Say hello, Roger.
Hello.
Emerald Master 5.
Name, I don't care.
Okay, we can call you Ryan, I guess. All right, Ryan. Emerald, we're here.
Hello.
Right? What's good? And then we have Omar and Matt. They're in the same call, but they're using one account. So say hi. Are they here?
What?
Are they here?
Oh God.
That's good. All right. Well, they're here in spirit. They're fallen soldiers of the brave Mujahideen. Anyways, today we're discussing the Trump inauguration, right? We're going to discuss TikTok. TikTok banned the future of TikTok, and we're going to discuss what else we're going to discuss. There's some ceasefire that happened, right? Yeah, so this segment of Cheese Talk, this is a current events news analysis, very serious. All right, let's talk about Trump. What's he up to? What does the news say about Trump?
The news.
There we go. We have Matt, and then Omar's here, right?
Yes. The news is.
Oh, let's go.
This country's cooked. The people that voted for him are cooked. They're sipping the Kool-Aid, and they're drowning in it.
Damn, that's crazy.
It hasn't even been a day, and it's already cataclysmic.
There is so much denial across the board, really, on what's going on right now.
Did y'all
that the day before his inauguration, Trump did the crypto thing, and then it dropped 60% today.
Trump coin to the
we
moon.
had one day to pull the fucking rug. That's crazy.
It
That's
sounds like
insane.
a pump and dump, honestly.
Look at the graph of the Trump coin stocks from the side. It looks exactly like his face. It's all a conspiracy.
That's a good point. I do believe though that it would make sense if they pump and dumped it, and the dump only happened after his inauguration because they're immune from any retribution.
Well, they were immune before anyway because you just pardon them.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I guess. But I mean, I suppose. I don't know. Probably
We don't have the hyper efficient state yet.
I did see a quote though earlier. Oh man, what was it? What was the quote word for word? It was oh fuck, you know what? I forgot what exactly it was, but it was something along the lines of like, you know, fuck. It was something along the lines of like, you know, we all lost. They just don't know it yet, right?
Yeah. Like the supporters,
yeah.
Like we were looking in the Trump inauguration. You guys notice like the people. I think Rogerout, you sent this in the chat, right? And there's people in the crowd, bro. They look like they like they're no way they're like freaking like adults like voting for this guy. Hold on, let me find the image. It'll appear in the appear in the audience and they'll see it. But it's these they have the same haircut. They have the same haircut. It's like the Three Stooges, but they're all fucking like Gen Z. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
I love how these three random people are just gonna catch a random stray.
So fun. It must be unbelievably fun to be a Trump supporter right now.
Oh yeah, shit's funny, bro.
You know,
it's like a game for these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's interesting. Actually, like I feel like for a lot of people, it is kind of being treated as a game because there is like on one hand, there's this genuine, obviously I think warranted resentment towards the Democratic Party just for the fact that they are like the embodiment of the establishment. But I feel I've noticed like a lot of the people who are the most like ardent supporters of Trump are the ones who are like gonna at least face any like real consequences from any of the actions. Like I don't think they really care about what he's saying, and it's like they almost like act like it's like tongue in cheek almost, which kind of like disguises the fact that it's very much are gonna be I feel like consequences to these actions.
Yeah, Matt.
What
were you trying to say? What were you trying to say, Omar? Or Matt?
So when Trump tries to get tariffs in and say he actually does get them in, who are the Republicans going to blame? When the
immigrants,
well, they're gonna
honestly, I genuinely, because tariffs would noticeably increase prices, and it would be 100% like without a doubt his fault. Like obviously it was his fault, but like it will be impossible to say otherwise. I genuinely think that he might just not do it. He might just go back on it because if you know. He would have to explain a price increase for beef or eggs or whatever the fuck, and clearly people cared so much about eggs that they'd rather elect a fascist than a woman, right?
I do think that's a good point where I feel like they'll try like tiptoe around what they're actually claim to do and instead go for like easier targets. I feel like I think he's gonna go after first is immigration. He's gonna try to like probably gonna do some like nonsense like rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. All so just like hyper fixate on these like culture war issues because you can kind of use it to like distract from any like concrete policy things while still like pretending to be like anti-establishment. While still trying to like push up against some like status quo structure without really having to sacrifice that much. I guess like the question is how long they can maintain that. Sorry.
Also, I will second you on this because if I'm sure y'all have noticed in the past since Biden got elected, the Republican Party, like both local like mayor and then like reps and senators, they have almost exclusively focused on like just culture war shit, like just trans rights or whatever the fuck, and like bathroom bills and gay people, right? Like the reason they focus on just that is that they haven't really been able to win elections on their bullshit since like Reagan.
like their economic. Oh, welcome. This is Fetus. He's on the pod. Say hello, Fetus. You there?
Yo,
we're recording right now, by the way. Are you in the? Are you at home or are you in the car?
I just got home. I will be on in just a minute. I'm gonna have to.
All right, that's fair.
Y'all know I'm here.
Yeah. Anyways, Cipher, you're saying?
Yes. I was saying that if you've noticed that like they've almost exclusively every like unless they're like a legacy candidate and even they have fallen in line, they're exclusively focusing on culture war shit that doesn't actually make any of their constituents' lives better. It doesn't actually like improve the country. It doesn't do fucking anything. And they've barely gotten anything passed except for just stuff to make trans people's lives and women's lives more difficult. But like those are all things that will not improve the quality of life of Trump supporters and like conservatives. It'll just make them happy because other people are like their enemies are more miserable. And it's incredible because I think that the reason is because they can't win on their economic theory, because like they kind of can, like obviously with Reagan, right? But I don't think they can really win on their economic and social policy for like people's lives improvement, because no one would buy it if like they've lived under conservative governments for the past like majority of the past 20 like 30 50 years or whatever. And like the capitalism has been getting worse. The Democrats haven't really been stopping it from getting worse. And since it's been getting more and more conservative, their lives have the American people's lives have been getting worse. So they can't really, they wouldn't really buy it if some conservative went onto a stage and was like, anyways, so basically we need to cut Medicare, and also we need to cut Social Security, and then that will magically make your lives better, because like they're not stupid, right? Like they're not idiotic. Yeah, that's all I had.
I was
Yeah, go ahead, Omar.
Hey, I am here officially. What's up, y'all?
What's good? This is Fetus. We saw him in a live stream of Cheese Talk. This is not the latest one, the one before it. It's like I think last week we did a Cheese Talk with Fetus. He's back again. Now he's on the Afraid of Hungary podcast, a sister podcast. We're just talking about Trump right now. We're gonna get into his inaugural address soon. But yeah, welcome in. I do want to make a statement, you know, just to go ahead,
introduce myself, you know. I saw a bit of his inaugural address today, you know, like as you said, we're gonna get into it, but I saw most of it. I do want to say it is ominous as shit. And like you can tell that like this is going to be a next dark 4 years, bro. Personally, I've been kind of leaning a little bit populist lately, like not right wing pop, you know, like Bernie
left wing populist. Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff on paper sounds really good. You know, no taxes on tips with Robert Kennedy's like plan to, you know, like make America healthier, which Bernie actually openly agreed with, which I do too.
Well, some parts of it.
That's oh yeah. You know what I mean. But I heard Cipher's talking about that. Like most of it is just like vague promises, just to give off the illusion that they're actually trying to give progress, while in reality they're just reducing their enemies' power and like their like
making their lives more difficult.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's all they're gonna do is just make their enemies weaker, and then they're gonna claim that this is now the new golden age of America because of that.
It's hard to get more culturally and economically conservative without starting to give up things that like that they can't even really propagandize into being a good thing for the working class. Like there's some things that they'll have to just be like, yeah, we don't want to do that because that would take money from rich people, and no one's going to vote for them on that message.
I will say though, I think the most interesting thing that could come from these next 4 years, I feel like they've potentially backed themselves in a bit of a corner, because I think this kind of is like a decisive moment for them, because I think it's only so long they can keep on like tiptoeing around the problem before they're actually going to have to like implement some of their policy that might actually have an impact, like tariffs or anything like that. Because I think they've been relying for like way too long on the fact that they're outside the system, they're outside the establishment, they're pushing up against like this democratic apparatus, and they're even using the fact that they're kind of ignoring the fact that he's in power for 4 years and saying like, okay, that first time around they were obstructed, they were getting stopped at all degrees, but like this time around he's not gonna actually do stuff. And I feel like we're kind of at an interesting turning point where like I don't think he can keep on like hiding behind this cultural stuff for that much longer. I think he's actually going to have to try to do something, and it's gonna be
important. Sorry, I do want to add that is a very cool or interesting statement, because today, as a matter of fact, someone who I know in my family who is a major Trump supporter went on Facebook, according to my mom, and made like this big post denouncing Trump, someone who's been like the biggest MAGA meat writer I've ever known in my life, like even more than my dad, you know?
Yeah.
And he was out there denouncing Trump for like his TikTok shit. So I think you have a point that like yeah. So I think that Emerald has a point in that like it's gonna slowly come to the realization that damn, this guy's fucking ass.
Hold
he
on,
hasn't really done anything.
Oh, wait. Was he denouncing the TikTok Trump pulling back on the ban, or
working with the?
He was denouncing Trump. Yeah, he was denouncing Trump, like trying to reinstate TikTok.
But
what? I feel like honestly that's kind of in line with.
I think we'll get into we'll definitely get into the TikTok stuff later
and then,
on.
So there's the tech bro, and then like the Orthodox MAGA movement. You know, like they're kind of
that. I saw that happen. Yeah.
I don't know. I do think that there's
happening too.
I do think that they're like reaching a critical point though. I think there's only some. Yeah.
I think Matthew wanted to say something.
Yeah.
Matthew. Yeah. I think you wanted to chime in.
Point, but are we gonna bring up a video or something?
We have a document actually of Rogerout. He took notes of the Trump inauguration. You want to go more in depth in that, Rogerout?
Okay. Yeah. I was earlier when actually I wanted to say something really quickly on the last.
Yeah. Go
discussion.
ahead.
So when Fetus talked about the and everyone else earlier talked about the golden age of America, and we hit on the everyone's gonna slowly realize. I was thinking about like it's the golden age, right? It's just gilded, right? It's the new gilded
like
age.
a new gilded age, yeah.
Yeah.
Where the rich can do whatever they want, and you know it's framed as if like, oh yes, this is America for the common man. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I get what you mean.
I also believe that. Yeah. Wait, was the golden age the first golden quote unquote age of America?
Oh, gilded age.
I believe was the 50s, right? The 50s.
Okay, I was going to say because I could have sworn the Gilded Age was also referred to as the Golden Age, which would be very, fitting. But I don't think it was.
I think the history was like it was like a Mark Twain quote where people were calling it the Golden Age, but he said there's but he said it was like gilded, like covered, like shit, and like that was like that's kind of like the background. At least that's like from what I remember. I think my history teacher told me that. But
I mean, gilded does ultimately mean covered in gold. In a layer of gold.
Yeah, but it's not gold in itself, you know. It's just it's covered. Yeah. It's a facade. It's
one could say the golden age of the 50s was also gilded, given the rights that certain groups.
Definitely.
But I mean, throughout the address I've noted on here, like he refers to the U.S. as entering this new great age that had already existed before in a greater capacity. Like he refers to America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before, as if he's gonna single-handedly do something like a FDR type turnaround. Like he says, let me find it right here. Over the past 8 years, I've been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history. I mean, yeah.
Honestly, I honestly don't even like take his words at face value anymore. I feel like at this point, like half the time is he's just kind of like signaling to people. Like I feel like what's gonna be a lot more interesting than what he says. He could say anything. He could talk about how he's gonna invade Greenland or invade Panama. But I think what's gonna be like more interesting is when he can't just like rely on his words anymore. But it is like a weird situation though. Like it's because he just keeps like his whole like personality is built around just like this perpetual kicking the can down the line. He's like gotten the entire fucking nation behind him, or not, at least not all of it, but he's like rallied enough, like I guess somewhat justified resentment against the status quo. And kind of relied on like complacency and the fact that his opposition is divided to like get into a position of power. And I think he's gonna have to like think of what he's actually going to do for it and how far he's actually willing to go. Because I feel like he will try to do something. I feel like he also realizes that he can't do nothing. But I guess the question is like, is he actually going to like go through what he's talking about? And that's kind of scary. That's a kind of uncertainty. Because that I think does represent like a sort of point for the country when these consequences come to just like ordinary people, when they're no longer in the realm of like, oh, they're affecting immigrants or like trans people or all these people on the fringe that can be like swooped away and like propagandized by like some news outlets, but instead just start like affecting ordinary life. And I think honestly that might be their undoing, because I think a lot of their success is just built upon complacency. The fact that no one wants to stand up.
I will say that was sort of what I was talking about when I was saying that like they've been focusing on this culture worship because they can't win on like doing more than they've already done. Like I genuinely think that because once they do the immigrant stuff and once they do, like the rest of their, getting rid of trans people and whatnot, they're gonna have to start doing the shit that will affect their lives, like regular people, or regular quote unquote people's lives.
Yeah.
There was a moment in the inauguration where he said, "My recent election is a mandate to completely reverse the betrayals." So he's talking about retribution. That's like his thing, right? It's like we're gonna go after those who slighted me. If I saw earlier, Joe Biden, right, as he was about to leave, he pardoned a bunch of he pardoned Fauci.
Yeah,
that was a hilarious, big one. By the way.
It's hilarious. Well, it's funny because like the Republicans or MAGA is gonna take that as, oh, he knew he was corrupt the entire time. It's all a scheme. When in actuality, he's pardoning him so that Trump can't go after him, right, for doing freaking nothing, right? Because what did Fauci do? He actually addressed, the COVID pandemic, while Trump just did nothing, right?
Also, on the quote that you just pulled up, the recent election mandate to reverse the betrayals, it feels very 1930s certain group esque. Like he also later.
You're allowed to say the Nazis on this podcast. Just
I know.
beware.
I know. I'm just being vague for dramatic effect, but he also later on talks about his assassination attempt and how that means that he's chosen by God, and it's okay.
Well, he's been saying that a bunch, right?
Yeah.
He said that
hand on the upside down Bible that he was holding up. He's my God.
Was that during BLM? Wait, Worm, that was the one during BLM, right? Where he was trying to do that photo shoot and he got rid of those protesters?
Yeah, that was the one on the Bible that he was selling with the Constitution in the back of it, or in the front of it. I forgot which one, but it had the Constitution.
Did he sell it afterwards, or how did that work?
Oh yeah, he sold it recently.
Sometime,
right?
I think a few years ago, he sold the Trump Bible, which included the Constitution.
Was it a few years ago?
I got my copy. It's right over here, actually. I love my Trump Bible.
I also will say about what Roger said about the saying he's chosen by God. That is literally almost exactly what Hitler said, because y'all know the story about that one British soldier that didn't shoot him, right?
Oh,
he used that story as propaganda, saying that he was chosen by God to fix Germany and whatnot. That's literally.
You're talking about World War I, right?
Yeah. That's exactly what Hitler did.
Yeah. Even further on that point, though, later on, he talks about enacting a state of national emergency at the southern border, which really does look, they burned the Reichstag.
Here's my take on that. It's either it's I think it's left deliberately vague of what he means by that, because there are those in the MAGA movement who are like, we're going to go and intervene in Mexico to get rid of the cartels, because he actually recently declared the cartels to be a terrorist group, right? Or it just means he's going to take military action to be like, you can't come in. We're going to seal the border, There's the defensive approach, and then there's the fucking we're going to do a special military operation in Mexico. There's also
which
that.
Which is the dumbest thing ever.
Right, yeah.
Grossly imperialist.
I wonder who's
also
actually
very Putin.
It's very Putin-esque. You know what I mean? Go ahead. Yeah.
According to CBS News, Trump did not put his hand on the Bible during his inauguration.
He didn't? Wait.
Isn't that legally required?
This can't be true.
Isn't that literally legally required?
I'm looking at a photo of it right now. He has his left hand by his side.
Yeah. Send it in the chat. Send in the chat.
Right,
we'll pull it up. We'll pull it up for the viewers in the post edit. But
oh my God, yeah, he's right.
Inaugurations have very okay. I don't care because
That's
whatever.
funny.
If you're not a Christian, that's not a bad thing.
It's a really weird tradition in our country. Yeah.
That's like hilarious. I think it's kind of dumb because it's a very not separation between church and state.
But imagine if Biden did this.
Yeah. Oh no, they would lose their shit. They would. Oh my god. They would lose their fucking shit if Biden didn't do that.
Interesting.
Dude, that is actually so fucking true though. Like if Biden did this back in 2020, or if anyone did this at all, and like
leftist specifically,
any president before Trump, any sort of leftist president, bro, oh my god, it would be so over. They would be like calls for impeachment, and it's not legitimate. He didn't have his hand in the Bible. That means just like I could already see that. Jesus Christ, that is insane.
Inaugurations do have very specific rules. I don't remember where I heard it from, but Obama, when he was getting inaugurated, he was very careful to follow the exact rules of the inauguration. Because I don't remember exactly why, but
he was the first.
It's because he's black, president. Number one, so they're gonna use that against him.
Well, okay, listen. Obviously, but I also think that there was some specific weird rule where like if the inauguration doesn't happen how it happens, then like it's like technically you haven't actually truly become president yet. I don't fucking remember, but I do remember that there was one time where the person like officiating the inauguration, whoever they repeat after, he said the wrong quote, and you can actually find a video of it where Obama stops him and like gestures to him to like say it correctly, right? But here we have Trump just not putting his hand on the Bible, but somehow manages to like win the fucking Christian vote 100%.
I remember there's this one clip in the election cycle where he was like, I'm gonna do my world-class Trump impression because apparently everybody in the podcast really likes it.
It's very good.
He said like he said something like Christians, you gotta go out and you gotta vote. You gotta go out and vote because you won't have to vote anymore. You won't have to vote anymore once you elect me. You won't have to vote. So I'm a Christian. Yeah, it was like kind of ominous because it's like, oh, you don't have to vote anymore. But it could also be interpreted as like, oh, it's like a salesman thing. It's like you don't have to do this anymore.
Getting up to vote, Getting up to vote, such a hassle. You won't have to vote for me anymore. I'll cancel these so tiresome elections for you.
I'll be president for life.
There's clock over Trump's head right now. How long before he lets the N-word slip out?
Dude,
I feel he's careful not to do something that stupid.
Gamer Trump. I want gamer Trump. That's the Trump I want.
Do we think Baron Trump slips it on when he plays video
games? Voice chat?
Definitely.
Dude, he does.
Like, Baron
There's
Trump
no way.
Looks like he was on Xbox Live saying the end. Well, actually no, because Xbox Live was before his time. He was like 13 when Trump was originally elected.
He's like our age, right?
Yeah, actually, I think he's younger than us.
Hold on. Let me just look something up to confirm.
Is he?
It.
No, he was born 2006 or some shit like that. That's when I was born, right?
Oh wow! Wait, he's literally younger than me.
Oh, is he now?
Yeah.
He's like a freak. He's like 6'9".
He's
almost
at
7
NYU
foot
right now.
He's at
actually
NYU.
Trump's tall as shit too, bro.
Wait, yeah, Trump's
he's like
6'7". What the fuck? This dude's a full foot taller than Trump.
How tall is Trump?
6'8", I think.
Trump isn't. Wait, no, Trump. No.
There's that. That's an image.
6'3".
Look at him.
Donald Trump.
He looked down on Trump. Wow, bro.
Yeah, Trump is 6'3".
No, you lie.
No, I just googled it.
It's a picture. Look.
Oh my god.
Apparently, Barron is only 6'7". That looks like a lot more than 4 inches taller than him.
It could be like the camera angle as well.
Yeah, maybe
he has a Slenderman build, bro. I know. He has a Slenderman build.
He's standing on his big boy stool. That's why he looks so tall.
Who, Baron? No, don't diss Baron, bro. He's Lisan Al Gaib, right? He's a liberator.
But that is definitely more than 4 inches taller than Trump.
Here's my take on Baron Trump, right? Baron Trump, right? He's what's gonna happen, right? So Hamas, they're gonna get beaten down by Israel, and there's gonna be Trump's gonna get assassinated within like the next 4 years, right? He's gonna get assassinated. Then Barron's gonna flee over to the Holy Land, right, into the Middle East, right, the Levant region, and he's gonna join Hamas and become their liberator, the Lisan al-Gaib, and he's gonna lead a global jihad against the establishment in the name of his the fucking Trump dynasty or some shit like that. And that's a future I'm willing to sign up for.
What are you talking about?
You haven't seen that meme?
Need to find some spices.
I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna find that meme. I'm gonna post it. This is gonna be in post production. All the viewers gonna see the meme. It should be up right now. But yeah,
this is a complete side note. But like, is it just me or did Barron Trump just out of nowhere get put in the public spotlight? I think it's like a very recent phenomenon.
Well, it's because he's an adult and he's in college.
Like, there was my suitcase, like that video.
There was a video I saw of him, like during one of the rallies or something, where he's like sitting back in the chair and he's got his like hands in the business position and all that. And it's like,
what? Like, oh, are you talking about the Andrew Tate position?
Yeah.
Oh, cool, awesome. Dude, I don't know. Barron Trump, I swear, was only in the public spotlight in like 2016, 2017, 2018. That I like. This is the first time I've thought about him in genuinely years.
Yeah, it was like ever since that like the like RNC and like there's a few other things, but like it's like I think he's been like brought out a lot more to like kind of corner that like Gen Z.
I think
like
probably,
which is such a weird demographic now that I think like because there's like a shocking amount of just like Gen Z men who are like pretty
boys.
big Trump
Let's
supporters.
be very clear, they're boys.
Speaking of Gen Z men,
boys,
Matthew, yeah, you wanted. We'll not use their names, but we're gonna have the one that is most definitely a Trump supporter. I'm gonna put his name in the chat actually, and then we're gonna have the other one. We're the other. Okay, so what were we calling the first one? Let's find like a name.
Call him, like first letter of name maybe.
Let's call him freaking Alex. All right. The second one's to be called Brian. Okay, so Alex. All right, so Alex is you know about Alex, right? Yeah. Matthew. Yeah. Yeah. He's like a kind of Trump supporter, but like not when you press him on the issues, right?
Dude, I actually pressed him like right now, and what do you call it? He's like, bro, Trump's not evil, and I'm like, bro, Trump's evil, bro. I'm not gonna get into it completely. But like, let me give you a short list of everything that makes him evil, or a short list of half the stuff that makes him evil. So I wrote rape allegations, his criminal record, association with Jeffrey Epstein, hatred of immigrants, his ego, Muslim ban, racism, he tried overthrowing the government. He also has a massive list of different things he endorses that would significantly worsen the country and takes advantage of his supporters.
Proud Boys and KKK come to mind.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
What he's
fucking
well, he's like super conservative though, kinda. But he's like not really conservative because he doesn't really think about the issues, you know.
What did this Alex fellow say in response?
What did Mr. Alex say? Matthew?
Oh, to the thing I was messaging him?
Yeah.
He wrote the longest paragraph ever. Luckily, I have an iPhone and I don't have read receipts on yet. And I'm looking through it right now, and he started raging at the end. He's like, also turn fucking read receipts on, little bro. That's like the main upside of texting on an iPhone.
Oh my god.
Contact on the top of the screen and turn on read receipts. And then he sent me a video of how I should do it.
Why is he so mad? Like, why?
He's short.
Because I told him that he doesn't think about any of this stuff, and then he's like, bro, I'm never going to change my mind. I said, bro, that makes you ignorant. He said, no, it doesn't. And then I convinced him that it makes him ignorant. He's like, okay, I won't be ignorant. Try and convince me then. So I sent him like different things, and then he sent me like 8 paragraphs. But the problem is, he's already taking me like out of context. He'll take one thing, like the immigration thing, and he'll say, how does this make him evil? The problem is it makes him pretty bad. But once you get enough bad things, it stacks up to the point where it can make you evil.
The thing is though that like also if he doesn't understand how demonizing, hating, and like deporting immigrants is bad.
Well, he's
then,
all
like,
in favor
there's
for
not really
that.
anything.
As far as I know, yeah.
Like there's not really anything that you can do to convince someone that thinks that is okay. Like unless the only way you can do it is by like over enough time exposing them to how that's terrible that they eventually are like, oh wait,
dude, 90% of his friends are Mexican, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
90% of what?
It's
his
crazy
friends
how
are
many
Mexican.
Mexicans went out and were like, "Yo, we love Trump."
they love it. Like
Wait, 90%. Wait, do you say 90% of Trump supporters or 90% of?
Not 90% of this kid's friends are Mexican.
Oh,
I think there's a lot of different like phenomena going on. I think with him specifically, especially like his background, I feel like the main combinations are like, first of all, there's like a disconnect where it's like I feel like he doesn't like he's like know anyone who's actually gonna get deported. I don't think. He doesn't like know people who are like.
No, wait. Sorry to interrupt.
Game,
sorry to interrupt, but he actually tried. I think did he try to get one of our friends deported or something like that?
Right? Oh my god. Okay.
Is that right, Matt?
No, he didn't try and get one of our friends deported. He tried getting a lady that hit the back of his car.
Oh, right. Yeah. I remember the story. Yeah.
It didn't even scratch his car. I had to put my face against his bumper to even see anything.
That's crazy.
Like, I guess point double stands then. They're like they kind of see it's like a game. Like it's kind of like remote.
Yeah.
For them. And then second with that is the fact that like so because of that they can't really like empathize with the people who are being affected. So when you like talk to them about how they're wrong, they think you're like lecturing them. And so, and what happens is they end up supporting Trump almost like out of spite. At least this.
Oh my god! Yes.
And then because of that, it's like for the rage, and this is like kind of like that like GamerGate like 4chan type people who are supporting him, where it's like, oh yeah, I love Trump because he's funny, or like he like gets people mad, and that's like I think that's one of the more like I guess loyal-ish cliques. And they're not that they are all in on the MAGA stuff. It's just that like they get like they are just kind of like annoyed at being like what they perceive as being talked down to. And in many cases, like they are getting talked down to, which so you could say is warranted sometimes. You could say is whatever. But it just leads to this like fucking like tell me what to do kind of thing. And that's why I don't think convincing them works if they don't.
I do think that the Trump movement has basically become the like y'all know the Trump movement in 2016 where it was like, haha, he's a funny guy and he's different. Like there was plenty of people that were in it for the racism and sexism, but like the popular vote came from just being like everyone was like, no way, or like, you know, it's funny or whatever, right? But like as the movement's gone on, I genuinely think that the like 4chan style like fucking alt-right people have basically become the majority like culture in the movement, because I genuinely think that's the only way the movement has been able to survive, is if you convince everyone that it's just a big game and it's to trigger the libs or whatever, and like convince everyone that it's like to get back at the leftists, because otherwise people might have their moral morality come in and question, hey, is this okay? And if you just train them that it's all just like it's fine because they're all evil, or because it's a game, or because it's funny, then they just don't.
The other thing is like all of these people that are like falling into that are like the same like kind of what's the word I'm looking for? They're kind of like they're the Chud Jack meme. They like fall victim to it because they are like
billions with inadequacy.
Like the Alex person that we will not name his real name, like he definitely has some inadequacies with his height. I'm 100% sure of it.
Right. And he's what's the term we call him? We say he's not cooked. He's chopped.
Homunculus.
He's chopped. Then there's this other fella. There's this other. Oh, say go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I was gonna say though, I do think like things feel a little bit different this time around. I think that like troll kind of thing still remains like kind of like a core part of like the center of the movement. But I think what got them to win the popular vote and what made them, I guess, graduate into like sort of
this time around they won the popular vote, right?
yeah. This time, no, exactly. What made them win it this time and graduate into more of like a serious political move, I think, is like contempt. I think that's what like more than anything describes like Latinos for Trump. I think that more than anything describes like why like so many even like middle class and even like poor people voted for Trump. It's because like he appealed to one thing that it's like very like just visceral. That's like corruption. he made the Democrats not just seem wrong, not seem evil, but seem like slimy, like corrupt, like they're taking advantage of people. And it wasn't helped by in many cases. They legitimately
in a
are
way,
corrupt.
He's right on
And
that. Yeah,
exactly. And that's so he banks off that corruption. He banks off that resentment, and then people and the Democrats just have kind of responded to that by like lecturing people more. And so a lot of people who are gonna get directly affected by what Trump does, if he actually goes through with these things, are kind of just like basically like threw their hands in the air and we're like, fuck it, I'm tired of being told what to do, I'm tired of being in like frustration, and just went to the one guy that seems like, I guess, genuine. That is one thing that Trump has. He like doesn't seem like he's just like a talking head. He has like this weird like fake charisma that's not really to stand for anything, but it's just like this like inferno where it can channel everyone's anger. And if you just let that blind you, then you can easily be lured into it of, yeah, like fuck them, fuck the Democrats, fuck like, and then it just logically leads down this path where you end up fighting against your own interests, or not even like wanting to start a third party or trying to start like even local politics, just being like, fuck it, it's all fucked, and I'm gonna vote for Trump because he thinks it's all fucked too. And then maybe the immigrants are causing the problems. Maybe he's been lied to my entire life. Maybe they're speaking facts on that too. And then it like a very gradually leads to just like this entire worldview built around kind of like contempt. And then that like kind of makes you more susceptible to these like almost like kind of conspiratorial ideas or ideas built around hatred. Cause it's like they have like hatred that like envelop them or whatever, but it's like there is like an anger, and it's been exploited by the worst possible people, and it's been used to like blind a lot of people, especially when the opposition is divided, because it's kind of hard to rally behind the Democrats when they don't really stand for much. And that's, I think, the most like overarching thing this time around.
Well put. I will say that when I said the 4chan culture has, in my opinion, like become the majority culture, I didn't mean in the 2016 to like 2019 style trolling. I mean like the sort of the base of their culture, which is turning everything that their side says into like a funny, whether it be funny that other people's lives are being ruined or that the libs are mad,
or it's like they hide behind layers of irony, essentially.
Yeah, right. Like I genuinely, because if you've seen Trump supporters on like, especially young Trump supporters on TikTok, they basically they're only there to go and try and find liberals to say something racist or horrific to. Like that's because like they don't that's what they do. That's all that they do. They don't fucking know shit. They just want to say that shit, right? I also will say that I know that it's true, but I find it incredibly frustrating that the left loses all this ground to being too corporate and phony and fucking
when the fucking
and like
Bezos is in the cabinet and Elon Musk, it's fucking
it pisses me the fuck off because like they are, but the like the conservatives are like infinitely more, and also the fact that like Trump, I don't know where people, like, I know that that's why some people vote for him, is that they think he's genuine. I just have no idea where they get that from, because he's like, if you even for a second think about like just some of the stuff he's even said just recently, you can like, he's provably lying, not just like against truth, but also against what he's said in the past. Like
that's the thing about him that I think is the most interesting. He fakes all the stuff. Like he creates an air of being genuine. He's not. He creates the air of helping the poll. He's not. Yeah, like
where he was for it, and then now he's against it.
And now he's for it because studies shown that it actually helped get him elected. You know?
That's what I've been talking about. That's what I've been talking about. Fucking, I swear to God that TikTok and like these shorts channel, like Instagram and YouTube, all this shit. I swear to God, I've seen this. I even thought of it before the election. Was that like, man, I've been seeing so much fucking super fashy stuff. Not even necessarily like, they usually don't say Trump's name, but they do say some real fashy shit, like super racist and sexist.
The whole months leading up to it, do y'all not remember me sending all these like horrid TikTok like clips?
Yes.
Yeah, like I used to send them almost every day for the last few months.
And
so
also
exactly
like that's like just online also. That's the thing, because that when you bring that up like to a person in real life, it's like, oh, that's online, that's whatever. But like I feel like this stuff eventually does have an impact. And you can see that the first time around 2016, like all that Gamergate nonsense definitely did impact like the populace, and it's definitely impacting it now. Like I think young people are genuinely being impacted by like this shit. When people are going on TikTok and legitimately saying, okay, guys, I know Hitler was bad, but let's hear him out. And people in the reaction isn't universal revile, and like hundreds of people in some cases. Like these things have like 5,000 likes, and sometimes which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things. Like 5,000 likes for let's hear Hitler out. And it's like you can see how people are just like every concept of grounding is just gone. And then you can see how someone like Trump can come in and just take advantage of that. And then you have the people who are just like regular people who are lulled in by that contempt. And then you have the people who are the much more like diehard people who are like building a genuine ideology around this. And I think the question is whether the regular people can be separated from that before it turns into like a point of no return where they can't, because there's just too much fear and too much like cowing people into submission and too much just, I think my life will be better if I just go along with it. And I don't know if we'll get to that
exactly.
point.
That's very interesting you bringing it up, because the other guy wanted to Rogerout, you want to say something? Ryan, maybe.
No,
go ahead.
Fine.
Yeah.
I have two things actually now that Emerald has mentioned it, or Fetus too, about all the fascism stuff. Literally, like there were stuff that I was seeing of like Hitler speeches AI translated to English, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, he was so right."
I've seen those.
Da.
I've seen those.
Like, yeah, it's like holy shit.
Yeah.
But secondly,
Also,
I think earlier Emerald brought up the democratic response of like moral high roading. Is like I know it's not super like credible, these people, but the online debate scene with the Democrats of like they just like moral high road, and it's like you guys are not much better.
The argument is sitting there calling them stupid.
Yeah,
which
and it's like
proves
you guys
their
are not
point
much better.
almost.
Yeah, and it's like
you are doing two big things. One is dropping bombs on children. The other thing is sending just enough aid to prolong a war, but not enough. Like if you're gonna go and try and help Ukraine, you either go all out or you do nothing. Because the other option that we're doing right now is sending
Trump's
just
about
enough.
to be inaugurated, or he is.
It's just sending.
He's president now. Yeah.
People into the meat grinder. It's just we're sending just enough, right? It's stupid.
It's really indecisive, and
Also,
it's just
Sorry, I want to make a. I also want to talk about something from a bit ago. Someone mentioned like the Democrats really, the Democrats being super like slimy and
demon
shady.
rats.
Something that really pissed me off was that one clip of Trump and Obama laughing and talking privately at Jimmy Carter's death.
Oh my God, yeah. Like, what the fuck was that about?
Yeah. Would you be mad at that? You know, like, oh, like they're being kind to each other. You know, like this is a show of unity. Well, here's the thing: there were literally families that are being torn apart by these people every day. Obama himself was like at so many rallies saying the most vile shit about Trump ever. Literally, even made fun of his dick size at one point, which is insane to do in politics, by the way. And don't get me wrong, Obama's better than Trump in every way. But here's the thing. When you're sitting there behaving and like laughing with him, when your like supporters are like literally decking it out in the fucking streets,
and
like families are being torn apart. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, and that's there's just this absolute lack of urgency for what like everyone's acting like these like actions don't have consequences. Everyone's acting like it is all just a joke, and like I don't doubt that he's not going to go all the like I feel like he's probably not going to go all the way. He's not going to take Greenland. He's not going to invade Panama. But like, if nothing else, like the like kind of like just violence imbued into everyday like rhetoric is gonna like impact us for a while. And I feel like it's gonna like take a while for people to realize that like this problem isn't just gonna go away. Because what like Trump's and basically created is just like a culture where it's just okay to just do the most insane shit with absolutely no consequences. And it's like obviously like all the criminal stuff, but just even just like the constant threats and constant like lambasting of entire groups of people, just under the guise of like I'm rooting out corruption, I'm fixing the nation. It's like Nothing stands for anything
two things I want to add. So, this is a funny thing. There's one I'm going to talk about is a contradiction, like an actual contradiction. Another thing I want to bring up, the story of Brian. I feel like I can cross-examine Matthew on this one. But first, this is a blatant contradiction. It's like, the cognitive dissonance is so high, and it might actually be consciously known that that whatchamacallit, that he is saying blatantly wrong shit, blatant lies. He's, weaponizing all this stuff to say like so many like ridiculous things. And the thing is, right, their supporters know this. A lot of them know this. A lot of the more younger people, like, they're in tune with this. Like, I want to bring up the Brian character I was talking about earlier, where whenever I ask him about anyone asks him about politics, he like it's like as if he disagree, like he'll agree with you essentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like when they confronted, he like kind of. I know people like that too, where it's
like well, he's because I remember I talked to who is Brian? Brian is the guy. We're not gonna say his name, but it doesn't really matter who this guy is. But yeah. So I remember I talked to him. I was like, so what do you think of the Trump cabinet? It's like, oh, we have a clown show now. And then, like he said that like a New Year's Day, because we met each other up for New Year's, right? And then I see his Instagram story. He says, what does he say? It's fucking crazy. He said, pull it up. Glory, glory, hallelujah. The truth is marching on. It's like, what? Yeah. What? It's like, what do you believe now? Do you like the guy, or do you not like his cabinet? Or like, what is going on? Like, and the thing is, the contradiction is that they know Trump is corrupt, but it feels like it's almost a utilitarian in a sense, where it's like they know he's kind of not a good person, but they'll take an openly corrupt guy over like covertly corrupt people, that being the Democrats.
Yeah.
I think that's what like all the classical conservative, like my dad is exactly like this. Like, he doesn't like Trump, but he despises the Democrats. It's like he doesn't like him, but
I'm gonna be real. Something that we need to do across all parties is eliminate lobbying. It's just corruption with a different name, bro.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a very grounded thing to believe in. Like, even a lot of people, like a lot of everyday Americans across like generations are like, oh yeah, they'll recognize like how bad the government is with corporate lobbies. But the thing is that like the left or the opposition towards the Republicans should say is that they should bring in more left populist rhetoric, meaning that it should be the problem is not the culture dying or like the West falling or trans people or immigrants. It's like it's about class issues. That's a very winnable.
I'm very weary about
statement.
Any introduction of. Sorry. I'm very wary of the introduction of any leftist populism too, because I can imagine like just like the glimpse of what the absolute nonsense the like online debating scene is. Like, could you imagine if like Destiny or like Vosh or someone become like real politicians? I could honestly see that happening. Just the level of like polarization, where it just becomes another like self-centered nonsense. Where like these
funny thing
like,
you
say
like
that Mexico or like Argentina, where you got these.
Andrew Tate is allegedly he's running for prime minister in the UK because like he's British, I think. So he's allowed to do it.
But
it's like
I really don't want to have a situation though where it's like we have these like people who are like, oh, against the neoliberals, you fucking neoliberals, just like not. They don't really care. There's like saying words and they're just doing the same thing that Trump is, where they're like openly corrupt and they're just using like left wing rhetoric instead.
Yeah,
that's like almost more sad because it like removes any real possibility of change or of like local community movements with like left wing principles or like some like I hope that we don't have like a return of like left wing like Caldeo types and like that.
That's like that's way too niche. Like, nobody will get that unless they spend years like trying to understand it.
I just think that's maybe somebody like a Bernie Sanders type social democrat type.
Yeah, that's not
that
even
frames
like,
it as
was like a like kind of like a grassroots movement from the ground up, but like I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't. It seems like you're trying to you're cautious about demagogues, left-wing demagogues.
Yeah, I think we can't have any movement that's centered around like a few people or one person.
Or like a Leninist vanguard party type, situation.
And not even not even like necessarily like that, like where it's like it's gonna turn to dictatorship. I just don't want like a left-wing Trump. Like I don't want like some like AMLO type because like, that doesn't do anything either. It just leads to the same nonsense.
Wait, you don't? You're saying you don't want like a charismatic left-wing like celebrity type. I actually saw this earlier. A lot of people on Twitter, because it's obviously fucking, it's always people on Twitter, right? They want Jon Stewart. They want Jon Stewart to run for president in 2028. Which I guess
Jon Stewart is.
Is Bernie not the ideal, like, at least for now, the ideal left wing?
He's not going to run. There's Bernie's
issue
old.
with him now is that he's too old. Like that is the only issue with him now.
Someone like that, is this what you guys are saying is the ideal left wing charismatic, or like you don't want that?
I feel like if Bernie ran, that'd be good. I just don't want any movement that's like centered around one person. Because first of all, I feel like
like a cult of personality type. Yeah, that's where you get Stalin and Mao essentially, where they get away with so many like atrocities. We don't want that to happen, right?
Yeah, and that's at the extreme. Even like more likely in America, you just get like a thing where you just throw away your chance for reform because you focus on all of the rhetoric instead of the and it's just
so we don't want a Lenin, we want a Bernie.
And even that, I don't want just a Bernie either, though. Because if you have like just these I feel like people need to stop looking for like leaders to follow. I think that's like, but like that's like where a lot of the problem is. Like it's like if you center all of your successes around like this one person getting to office or this, it inevitably leads to factionalism. It inevitably leads into like a focus on like defeating your opponents rather than trying to like build a better society.
So I feel like that's the issue. It's like where it's based on victory rather than progress, essentially.
Exactly, and that's a system with I think that's an issue also of like trying to reform the Democratic Party as well, because the Democratic any political party organized the way that it currently is inevitably going to just lend itself to like a few like people getting in charge and like a bunch of corporate money, just because that's how they'll win. With the parties with the most resources, with the most media coverage, are like inevitably going to edge out the other ones. At least if we're talking conventionally. So I feel like you have to almost have like a.
Fuck you. I stayed quiet just to not make that joke, but someone else made it. I'm sorry.
What? Sorry, what did you say?
Someone said edge. Someone said edge out. And
funny.
Someone said edge.
Funny. Cue laugh track. Cue laugh track. No. Yeah. So there's another thing is I don't want to spend too much time on this. Thank you. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but here's the issue of electoralism as being the be all and end all of left wing advocacy. I mean, there are other things we could do, obviously, to help out, people and make a better society. Electoralism is not the be-all, end-all. It could be a tool, I think. I think we could, build something, but the issue with electoralism is that you're not changing the system. If you're taking like a Marxist critique, you're not changing the system at the root of it. You're just playing along with the electoral cycle and politics framed by those in power, essentially. But I think we can wrap up this section on Trump. Let's move on to the next topic at hand. TikTok. What's gonna happen? What do we?
Yeah, I feel like I called that. Like I was saying for like so long that it's gonna get banned for like a minute, and then it's gonna get unbanned. It's gonna be some nonsense, and then Trump's gonna take credit for it.
Well, hold on. So what the official thing is that Trump has not unilaterally unbanned it. He put like a 90-day extension to where TikTok, I think, can finally sell their so that ByteDance can sell TikTok to somebody else, essentially.
I don't know. I will say I feel like nothing's gonna really come of it, just because it's like it's too like popular amongst the young people. I feel like Trump like cares about popularity too much to actually ban TikTok. He'll like sell it to some, or if it gets sold at all, it gets sold to some weird like friend or like Elon Musk or something, and like it's just gonna be the next thing.
Man, Elon Musk is crazy, bro.
It's not gonna be Elon. I guarantee you it's gonna be Zuckerberg. I promise you.
I honestly never thought about the possibility that Elon Musk could buy TikTok, but now that I think about it, that would make
If he does,
a lot of sense.
Dude, they name it to T. They name it to like T or something.
T.
Yeah. Fucking T.
I feel like if Elon Musk gets it, I think TikTok is like no one's gonna use it anymore.
He ruined Twitter, and like he has too much of an ego, so he tried to be like, "Yeah, the fascists are allowed back," and then also.
Did you see what he did recently?
What did he do? What did he do?
Oh my god, dude! Yeah.
Oh, and yeah.
And then he realized halfway through what he was doing.
We'll play a
and
clip
was
of that in a
My
bit.
heart goes out to you. It's like, okay, we get it, bud.
Actually, wait, can we play the clip right now? I want to see this real bad.
Okay.
I guess someone could stream it. I guess.
Yeah, just pull it up because you mentioned it.
Me?
Yeah, you mentioned
it. I can't.
Okay, fine. I'll pull it up. Hold on.
Pull it up, Borman.
I'm not fucking Borman. That's
I'm
Emerald.
talking to Emerald.
You're Borman.
Oh yeah, Emerald pulled up Borman.
Himmler, bro.
Jamie, can you pull that up?
Oh my
yeah.
God. Okay, yeah. Okay, wait.
You think this is actually get big enough? We'll have like an outlash against Elon Musk, or what's like? Are people already mad? I haven't seen the discourse behind it.
Well, no, basically, after he said, after he did it, he said, "My heart goes out to you." To like, I don't know if that was his original intent or he realized halfway through that what it looks like he's doing, and so he said that.
Oh, in the clip, he did that.
We'll just use it as just like, oh, he said this. That's what it means. It's
I was also gonna say that the Trump crowd are already turning on Musk because
he's a fucking Redditor.
No, they're turning on him. I don't know if y'all.
Let's watch. Hold on, wait. Let's watch the clip. Watch the clip really quick.
That's what I'm saying. There's like a split in like the MAGA movement right now because of that. Anyways, is this the Hitler thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
But this
one, I wasn't talking about that, but there's something else I want to show y'all too. That was really funny.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Here we go.
Dude, he's so fucking stupid.
Heart goes out to you.
See, he added it at the end.
Dude,
he is so awkward, bro.
He is.
Well, he's just autistic. He's just autistic. That's it.
I want you to look up the shit that happened on Twitter. Elon Musk Twitter stuff.
Oh yeah, no. So
what do you say? What do you say?
Basically, what happened was Elon Musk and Ramaswamy.
XQC.
Oh God.
Wait, wasn't it XQC?
Wait, XQC? The streamer, right?
I'm
look it up, bro. It's insane.
I'm talking about when Elon Musk and Ramaswamy went against like the idea of kicking out job immigrants.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that happened like last month, right?
Okay, yeah, I thought that's what you guys were talking about.
No.
If that happened, that's
pull it up.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up.
Okay.
Hold on. I have to. Elon Musk.
Just send in the chat. We'll see it.
Yeah.
Oh, H1B.
It was like
H1B. That's it. That's the thing that everyone was mad about a month ago.
The work visas.
Yeah.
I saw a clip of Steve Bannon. He has like this weird podcast called War Room. It's like some
God.
American
Cornball.
patriotic LARP thing.
Dude, War Room is already the name of Andrew Tate's podcast.
Is it? Oh, no.
Literally
No,
is.
that's the name. That's the name of his like
Room
organization or something like that, right? Where he gets like all
doesn't
his
he
like.
also call his podcast the War Room.
In the War Room with Tristan Tate drinking the Johnny Walker.
Fucking stupid.
Some dumb shit like that. But with Steve Bannon, what he did, he was like, Elon Musk, he's not one of us. He's a fake. He's an imposter among us. No, he's like
fascist in circle.
Dude, it's like freaking like Joseph Goebbels calling like Krupp like a fake fascist or something like that.
Or everything Borman did during the war to try and wiggle himself in.
Yeah. it's like, I don't know, maybe like Heinrich Himmler calling out freaking who's like maybe like Speer or something like that. He's like a lukewarm.
Well,
like
Speer was like the one everyone hated.
Like Rudolf Hess or some shit.
He was too mild for their taste.
Dude, Rudolf Hess is like the Steve Bannon of or no, Steve Bannon is like the Rudolf Hess of MAGA essentially. He's like the guy's like so committed, you know what I mean? Like
wait, no, Rudolf Hess was the guy that ran away.
Oh yeah.
Well, on a diplomatic mission, remember, to the British.
Yeah, no. He ran away to try and organize like it was like a peace treaty or something. He flew away.
Purged like so many videos about it.
Leaked DMs from Elon Musk. What is this is from Asmongold, the streamer, right?
Yes, it's Asmongold. Yes.
What the hell is this?
Oh, is this the thing where like apparently Elon Musk was faking some game thing and got mad?
Oh, that's the other thing. Yes. Yeah, he faked well, he bought levels in the game because like what was it? He was like super high level, but he didn't know how to fast travel or use the map.
This isn't like a MAGA thing, is it? This is just like
no, this is just Elon Musk.
No. Yeah, this is Elon Musk trying too hard to be cool.
It was like him trying to be like, I'm one of the people's people. See,
I see. No, it's funny.
It's so weird because they'll be like, oh, he's a genius, he's an innovator, but like he spends all day on fucking Twitter and acting like he's like a video gamer. It's like, motherfucker, build your companies. Your companies are all failing.
Funny.
Just blew up.
Like I think maybe like about 5-6 years ago. I remember when Reddit was like, there was like the whole like, what was it, Minecraft good, Fortnite bad, like Reddit wholesome 100 big chunk, like that dumbass, like the OG brain rot. All right, back in the day, people were like, oh, Elon Musk is wholesome 100, and he's like, guys, I am a wholesome 100 capitalist as for internet rights. And then like during COVID or something like that, or like after, I knew it was after January 6th, when like Trump got banned from Twitter. He's like, I'm gonna bring free speech. Like he's like doing it like a centrist way. He's like LARPing, right? Yeah. It's like the enlightened centrist. And then he then he just flipped on MAGA in 2024. But it's like it was like a progression of like being like this internet's like favorite celebrity, right, to becoming like the one of like Trump's inner circle. You know what I mean? Like it is insane. And then we just saw it unfold, and wow.
He's Herman Goring, man.
It's really not that surprising considering that he grew up in fucking apartheid South Africa and he's absurdly wealthy. Like, also because he was always environmentalist, but he was never like, that environmentalist was not like tied to a leftist message. It was just like non-political environmentalism.
Which gets nothing done. Obviously, it's not
even really like the real environmentalism.
It's self-serving environmentalism. I mean, like it's environmentalism as long as you're buying his cars and his rockets and whatever.
That, but also like his environmentalism is like only his inventions can do it, and his inventions are like, first off, not even his, but second off, it's an electric car. It's an electric car you plug into the grid.
The thing is that the environmentalism only works for like electric vehicles if we reduce the number of vehicles on the roads in general, and we don't just have the same number of cars, but all of them are electric, causing a bunch of like pollution from all the shit they need to make batteries. Like,
right.
Most of them are plugged into a grid.
He's trying to have his cake and eat it too. Have the American like just turbo individualist. Everyone needs like a 15-ton truck, but also let's save the planet, guys. Like fuck off! You can't. Have
I don't think he cares anymore. The environmentalists mentioned. As like he not care. Like of course he never cared in the first place because he's an uber wealthy billionaire, right? But like now it's not relevant. It's not politically.
Yeah, because we were drilling baby drill.
It's not. Right, that's what Trump said in the inauguration. Yeah.
They since they like the environmentalist message is now anti-Trump and anti-conservative, so like that he can't really do that anymore. However, I will say that I do think that he did genuinely care, like early on, before everyone realized that he's a shithead. But the thing is that like just because he cared doesn't mean like it was good, because he definitely cared, but he has such a massive ego that it had to be him. He just like his biographer said, I think it was his biographer said that he wants the world to be saved, but only if he can be the one to save it.
The other thing, like, just remember, this is the dude that like his only inventions are horrible, and the ones that he claims are other people's.
See, that's why I got work for NASA, Roger.
I think wasn't it like he made a company and then it was basically just like the engineers and like the actual scientists that worked in the company did the inventing, right?
He stole Tesla through like some underhanded business tactics.
Did he? I did not know that.
Yeah, SpaceX he technically founded, but he never did any engineering work because he's not an engineer. He has a bachelor's in physics. That's it. I mean, like a bachelor's in physics is still very impressive, obviously, but with enough money, you can obviously get it.
Right.
It's no rocket science.
Yeah, I mean
that's a knee slapper.
Yeah, he's not an engineer. He doesn't.
Right.
He's not like technically in the design process, as far as I understand. I'm not in SpaceX, obviously. This is like super uneducated opinion, but as far as I've seen, like employees that have been fired because of their comments on him because he's a 1800s capitalist, they've basically said he doesn't really do anything design wise. He's the like marketing figurehead.
Going back to the environmentalist thing, I think he's obviously now I think he's in the crowd that denies climate change ever existing or whatnot. I think wasn't he always like that? I remember him like making fun of
he's still does he not still
I don't think
climate change is a thing.
I think he still believes in climate change. I'm gonna Google this real quick.
Well,
I mean, originally he did. Yeah, originally he did.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing behind his Tesla. Like the whole thing behind his Tesla thing was that he wanted to save the world from climate change. Like that's his whole thing.
Well,
that's
hold on.
Leftist view he holds.
The only reason why I'm mentioning that because the only reason why I'm mentioning that is that RFK Jr. I think his whole work was like about. Most of his work was being an environmental lawyer, right? But I think he denied climate change multiple times. If not, maybe on the campaign trail.
He was.
Are you talking about RFK?
He was a climate lawyer for not or environmental lawyer, not for climate change though. It was like river cleanups or some shit.
Also, it's like RFK basic environmentalism. Yeah.
RFK is also an anti-vaxxer, just for y'all to be aware. He's anti-vax and also like modern medicine as well.
He's anti-vax, but people will say he's actually pro like doctor choice or some shit. It's like
the thing is that he's anti-vax.
As if you don't have a choice to vaccinate or not.
Like he went on the public like podcast gambit with like mainstream people, and whenever they're mainstream, he's like, I'm just pro-choice or I'm just pro-choice and like.
I'm just pro-choice in every matter.
And then as soon as he's like in the like fucking crackpot podcast, he's like, so you see all these kids, they very young kids, they get the vaccine and then 2 years later they have a high fever, or like no, 1 month later they have a high fever, and then boom, they're diagnosed with severe autism.
Genuinely ignoring like 90.
Definitely.
It's a real fucking quote.
All right, y'all. I wanna wrap up on this point with Elon Musk, TikToker, RFK Jr. I want to transition to the latest development we saw when the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. You've probably heard it before on the podcast or in the actual Cheese Talk live stream podcast that we support. We support Israel, but we don't. At least my alter believes in Israel, but the real me, the one in the Afraid of Hungry podcast, is against war. Does not believe in war. I guess we'll clear that up out the way.
Doesn't believe in homicide as well. I hope.
Yeah.
Just anti-war.
Just war. No, he's just against war.
No, you're allowed. You're allowed to like do You're allowed to essentially kill your next door neighbor, but if you do it like a massive scale, like a genocide, nah, it's not good.
As long as it's a special military operation, then it's fine.
Oh yeah.
Counterinsurgency.
Yeah. Does anyone want to talk about? Anyone want to talk about the ceasefire deal? Anyone want to bring up some stuff?
They achieved their goals.
I don't know shit about the ceasefire. So
you know, I'm going to be very honest here about the Israel-Palestine conflict. I
Go
don't
ahead.
really,
Yeah.
Okay, like as bad as this sounds, and like Israel very much.
Before you say something, this will be on the internet. People will see this.
I know.
So don't flame him, guys in the comments. Don't flame him.
Personally,
people on Twitter, don't flame him. My friends and family back at home or maybe at fucking college, don't flame this guy.
Don't flame this guy.
No.
Don't flame him. He has the right opinion. All right, go ahead.
It's the most important issue. I just don't think it's the most important issue we should be focusing on.
Right, because America first.
No, not like that. Not like that. Like, I really do think that, like, shit has been getting really bad here, and that we should start, like, focusing way more on trying to, like, shit that's been making people suffer, like, drug price, like, as a diabetic, I want drug prices down, I want, there's people outside, like my home city pretty much put all the homeless people in, like, this little, like, pretty much reservation area, like, shit like that, like we gotta start solving like a lot of the like the issues of like homelessness and like porn, we gotta
modify housing.
like a bunch of people in a land thousands of miles away shouldn't be the most important issue to so many people.
I understand, but
especially in America.
I think we should also pay attention to, like, obviously advocacy and activism for foreign policy is very, very important.
Most definitely.
What
I agree with that.
Does anyone here know much about it other than that it probably may or may not have been taking place? Because there's like a lot of things I've heard about it. This is the one topic in this discussion that I've done the least amount of research for. But Matt, Omar, do you guys know anything about this? Y'all here?
Yeah.
Matt, do you guys have anything to say? Omar, I think you keep up with it a lot more than probably we collectively do.
What are we talking about right now?
We're talking about ceasefire. I'm not trying to single you out because like you're
pretty racist to go to the only guy here.
Oh yeah. No.
Well,
for the record,
very knowledgeable on the whole situation. To be fair.
No, yeah. So much so he gave Ryan or Rogerout a whole book about the history of Zionism. Yeah. As an occupying force
from an Israelite or from Israel.
This is lore. This is lore, by the way. Freaking Rogerout. He used to be like I think he used to be a Zionist, right? You're like, oh yeah. Well, I know it's like not that. I know it's a little much that Israel is killing a lot of people, but it's their right. They have a right to defend themselves, Yep. But then you change that like Israel's is an apartheid state. That's a pretty drastic move. Well, but Omar, do you have anything?
It became based in under a month,
an apartheid state, bro.
I feel like
that's a record, bro. That's a record.
I feel like the ceasefire is the end of a transformation for me.
I also think that the ceasefire, I didn't even know that it happened, or like I'd vaguely heard of it, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna last all of a month.
It's not gonna last for long, I don't think.
I think it's what 90
Trump glazed
days...
himself for it. He took credit because of course he did, right?
And people believed him.
Like he was not involved. He wasn't even in office. He wasn't even in office, was he?
Do you know what they've been saying about it? They're like, dude, it's because you're scared of Trump. That's why he just has that much aura. A guy.
I think it is.
Oh my god, I heard that.
Hold on.
I heard that. Oh my
god.
I think it is kind of that. I think it is kind of that, just because they know that like Biden is like weak when it comes to negotiating stuff. Whereas like,
I think aside from like Ukraine, I think it was such a like such like a cartoonishly like dumb thing to allow Netanyahu to get away with so much. Like it's about time there was a ceasefire, because essentially Netanyahu was like running circles around Biden. Biden's like, all right, I'm putting my foot down. Then he doesn't actually put his foot down, and Netanyahu gets away with shit. And it's like, wow, we're back to this. Like, how riveting.
I will say that I don't think that was actually his aura, not because like obviously like I
don't think anyone here believes that.
Well, no,
Yeah.
but I mean, like even the like if it was like, oh well, this guy's coming to office, so he might have a different policy, so let's like preempt. Like the tech companies have been known that, but like the thing is that like the ceasefires are like Israel is the one that's in like standing in the way of any sort of long-term peace in the region, and Trump is like does not just has no backbone against Israel, but like also is pro-Israel. So like was it an Israeli like focused ceasefire? Like did the Israel?
I know.
I don't know about it. I'll be honest.
I think Hamas returned like 3 hostages, and they plan to do like 30 or 33 or something like that.
Wait, how many were originally taken?
Like 100 something, right?
So they only managed. They have all the firepower in the world. They can
only,
murder. They can murder
They
every
managed to
single
kill the
person.
hostages.
And they only managed like a third of the hostages. Also, by the way, they managed a third of the hostages and shot, I think 2 of them or 3 of them.
Yeah.
They genuinely shot.
Actually?
Yeah.
God.
Something else.
Wait, are you talking about Hamas or Israel?
No, Israel shot 3 of the Israeli hostages.
No, something.
Wait. What's the
Speaking
context?
of,
What's the context? Hold up.
They just accidentally shot them. The soldiers just they were just shot.
No way.
Clearly, because the thing is that keeping the war going as long as possible and stealing as much territory and committing this genocide is ultimately more important to them than the lives of their own citizens. They don't care about Jews at all.
Yeah.
They just want this war to keep going so they can get rid of as many Muslims and Arabs as possible.
I think that's the worst thing is Israel is how they just use the suffering of all of the like Jewish people throughout history as like a mask to do whatever they want. Like they like Netanyahu basically acts like he's like the representative of the entire Jewish community worldwide and across time, and it's really just kind of like sickening how they're using like all of the horrific things that Jews have gone through historically as like a justification for just killing people.
This is the hypocrisy of nationalism as a whole. I mean, if you talk about Zionism, ask anybody, what is Zionism? No, typically tell you, oh, no, it's Jewish nationalism, saying they should have a right to the nation. But nationalism as an ideology always prioritizes the state over everything else.
Yeah.
And so when you bring it up like this, it's ironic. So like, we're here to defend, Jewish domains, or Germany will say, we're going to defend the German domains or whatever. But what do these nationalistic ideas do? They throw their people out to the front lines because preserving the state, the idea of the nation, is more important than the people within it itself.
Yeah, it'd be like if Armenia, like after World War I, like say like the Ottomans won, they annexed Armenia entirely. And then after the fact, the Ottomans somehow lost. Instead of Armenia going back to Armenia, it went to like West Africa, and the Armenian state just started like doing like Rhodesia type shit, like firebombing like the African people there. And
Let's call a spade a spade. Also,
as, like, some excuse. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Let's call a spade, right? Aside from like all the history, the brutal history of anti-Semitism, being weaponized to justify the existence of the state, it's just another Rhodesia. It's a colonial project.
That's what I said the other day, bro. Like that's what I said the other day. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're Rhodesia, but the Western support came like way more.
Yeah, I also want to say that like I think the best way to think about it is that even if all of the shit is true, like obviously the Jews have been persecuted for this so long, right? But like even like if you take that into account for what's going on right now, which you like shouldn't really, right? Even if you take all of that into account, it doesn't, just because you were persecuted doesn't mean you can like go and steal someone else's land,
Like, kill them.
Yeah, right. Like you don't get a right to some random uninvolved person's land just because you were person. Like if some dude shanked me in my house, it would not be my right to go walk like 3 blocks down the street and just like kick someone else out of their house with the help of the military.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's unjustified, right?
There's one more point I want to add actually, and people. A lot of the issue with the freaking genocide and the wars going on, Zionists and non-Zionists alike, we tend to rightly focus a lot on Gaza because that's where most of like the freaking mass
there's
killing
also West
is.
Bank,
There's the West Bank essentially.
There's Trump Heights too.
And it's actually like basically Trail of Tears, almost Trail, if not probably more Trail of Tears style genocide essentially.
Actually, I think
Trail of Cheers.
I'm pretty sure more died in the Palestinian genocide than in the Trail of Tears.
Don't quote him on that. Don't quote him. I'm not sure if that's even.
I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna Google it really quick.
Well, this is
while you do that, but basically, the West Bank, where it's the settlers, like these people are weaponized to believe like this is my land. You're in my land, and I'm gonna take it back. I'm not taking your land. I just wanted to finish that point. Yeah.
Omar has talked about like the tactics they use there. It's kind of interesting.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Weird at the same time.
Yeah. What do they do?
A few things first. We can make the comparisons to other events like the Trail of Tears, but in the end, let's just try to make sure because it's in like a dick measuring competition. Like who is worse, or this is
yeah.
It's really not just like this. That's just one thing to keep in mind. But I guess comparisons kind of help put into people's minds like what's going on. But the other thing is that people kind of like don't acknowledge, like even when we talk about it's just the West Bank, it's all of the entire Israel-Palestine area. Because if you go back like 100 years, it was like 98% like ethnically, Palestinian. And then there's like 2%. Even back then, Jews back then were considered Palestinian.
Yeah.
But anyways,
dude, the name of the region was like wasn't it like the Protectorate of Palestine or something? Like, wasn't that like its official name?
There's the Mandate of Palestine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called. Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah. There's
graphic change that occurred,
but then there's like there's like this really like low blow or like low bar argument. Like it's such a bad argument where they appeal to like the Bible and it's like, oh, the Jews have been there the whole time. We're just taking your land back because like 2,000 years ago we were here. You know what I mean? Like it's so low. And honestly, I think the Jews then and the people who would establish the state of Israel, they probably would not see each other the same. I mean, like
just textbook historical revisionism.
Think about it. Think about what they did in the biblical times too. They just
Jesus Christ, right? Yeah, no, you know who deserves the right to the land? The freaking Canaanites, the freaking Philistines, bro. If anything, they were there before them.
The name comes from though. Didn't you say that one time?
What?
The name
Palestinians
comes from like Philistines through some like. Long chain of stuff, right?
The name like Palestine as the name for the region as a whole originates from like a Greek guy in the 5th century, and then it became an official administrative name during the Roman era. But again, a lot of people kind of like to make this argument about the names. They're like, is there ever a Palestinian country, or was there ever, a Palestinian identity before the 18th century, or whatever? This is like a non-relevant argument here.
It's a nothing burger.
Guys, the name doesn't really matter here. It's like if Israel was called Judea, hypothetically, would that change this whole situation? If Palestine was called Palestine, right. Would anything change? So a lot of the focus on the names is dumb and not relevant at all.
Also, a lot of the thing where it's like, they never had a Palestinian state, like ignores the fact, like a modern nation state is a very, very, very recent phenomenon as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it definitely is. It's like a post French Revolution, Latin American revolutions deal. It was the idea of nationalism was more of like a left wing like response to absolute monarchism You know?
Yeah,
because
there's two types of nationalism. The current day one is very different from the we should have our own representation. Just want to get that
where
out
you
there.
see that, where you see like it's more about the people and the folk and the culture who've been oppressed by like a dictatorial or monarchical system, and that's what the idea of the French nation came about as a revolutionary struggle for the French citizenry, not as the French being subjects of the king. Because before, the idea was that people were subjects, not citizens, right? The territory was not a nation or a country or had natural borders or anything like that. That is a modern concept. But yeah.
Yeah, I will say that the nationalism, like I do generally kind of support the old nationalist movements only because it was an oppressed people's getting out from under an oppressor. But the thing is that like that nationalism only really I only supported and it only really worked and made sense in regimes like monarchies and dictatorships, because like those regimes were non-democratic. But like once you get to a democratic regime, obviously assuming that the democratic regime treats
Actually
all people
democratic.
equal. Yeah, like all people equal and is actually democratic, but that doesn't really exist. But the nationalism stops making sense because like at that point you aren't under a king or a dictator to like require your own land. Like at that point, then it is just because you want to create your own ethno-state.
Yeah, it's like reactionary nationalism
Yeah.
when it's done as a result of being oppressed on an ethnic or national basis is like understandable. That's where a lot of the original nationalism start from, like in Austria-Hungary. A lot of the minorities, Czechs or Poles, Croatians, whatever, they were suppressed. They tried to make them Austrian or speak German. And so they develop, okay, we need to develop our own identity to hold on to who we are. You can see this across every empire in history and every nationalism, where it typically starts as, we're being oppressed. We need to fix our situation. In that sense, nationalism is a very justified idea because you're saying, they're treating us on the basis of our race. We need to unite up and confront this problem we're facing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Here's a funny thing that, like, I guess if you want to put like a Marxist analysis over this, where it's like the old system, it was about like the feudal system that Marx would like call it. It was about like subjects being one with the king or whatnot, under the king. And then it later in the bourgeois society, then nationalism sort of like erupt. And I guess if you were looking forward to like a social society, nationalism has to be done away with essentially, because it's a bourgeois concept. It was the same class of people who espouse the idea essentially. You know what I mean? It's like it was like their crafting. It was their class, and they use nationalism as a way to justify the capitalist system essentially. It's very interesting. I think. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I guess I agree.
I don't know. I mean, I guess Emerald here, you're an anarchist, right? What do you think about that Marxist analysis?
Hey, me too.
Oh yeah.
I'm also an anarchist here.
Yeah. We have two anarchists, right? I'm not sure how much of Marxism your guys' beliefs, align with, but I'd like to hear Emerald's take on this.
Yeah, I want to hear it too.
I don't know.
Did Marx not believe in the ultimate state of anarchy?
I didn't think we gotta be careful with like getting our like regurgitating information from the past. It's not like it's not worth learning from, but you can get kind of caught up in like dogma.
No,
yeah. Ground. That's why I even hesitate. Like, I'd say I definitely like anarchist ideas. I'd say I'm like objectively an anarchist. I don't know if I'd say that like in real life, just because the point would say I don't know if it's like. I don't know if it takes away from any actual progress.
It's just more LARP than like actual. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm always kind of cognizant of that because it can very easily turn into just like you're saying a lot of stuff, and like of things that were like meant things 100 years ago, but have kind of lost their bite because like these organized movements don't really exist anymore. And I think anarchism less so, just because it's kind of a decentralized. Again, it's kind of like a decentralized thing. I think the ideas behind it are a lot more flexible than say like Marxism. But I do think again we have to be a bit careful about just retreading the past, especially in like the modern in the times right now where there's a lot of new challenges that we haven't seen before, and just like even like the right is manifesting itself in a very different way than it was 100 years ago. Like the type of like authoritarianism that we're seeing now is very different from like the organized fascism of like the 20th century.
Right. I think
fascism.
Okay, I wouldn't say it's exactly that because I think anarcho-fascism is like an actual, maybe not an actual thing.
No,
but there's a
like
definition towards it. You know?
Like decentralized fascism is basically what it is.
I
say anarcho-fascism as a joke, not because anarchism, but like it's decentralized fascism.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm trying to drift away from using the fascism label to be applied to this movement, these movements throughout the world, because like technically
they don't
like,
rise to the level.
Fascism was a very specific thing that had very specific principles. Like Mussolini had a work. I actually read the whole work in full because it's not even that long. But it's called The Doctrine of Fascism, which was co-written by Giovanni Gentile, if you guys know about that guy, who's like the philosopher of fascism. But basically, it had like its own specific principles, but then it morphed in several countries, and we had another thing called National Socialism in Germany, right? We had fascist movements that called each other like the silver shirts, the brown shirts, the green shirts, all throughout the world. Like that was like their own thing. Then there's like the modern like neo-Nazism, which is not tethered to a specific values or any coherent system. It's just like we're gonna be really racist and we want white people to control the government.
I will say I think you overestimate the level of cohesion that the old fascists had either, because I think fascism at its core was also played on emotion. Like I don't really think it was like a true set of ideologies and like they actually had a plan to just like change the world or make things better. And I think the fact that it was so different so many different countries kind of reveals that. I honestly feel like the modern type of fascism is very accurate and true tradition, which is like just a entire like ideology that its core principles are really just hatred and violence more than anything else, and it's just basically trying to find the best way to disregard having to actually address real problems instead just focusing on the violence.
I like to consider this this new wave of far rightism, white supremacy, authoritarianism, like reactionaryism. You know what I mean? Because I think reactionary. Because not a lot of people know. It's an academic word. Like it's a political science term, right? It's like not really like no one really knows about it, but it sounds like menacing. Fucking reactionary,
Yeah, I guess because I was
because they're trying to fight for
one emerald on what he said. I do personally think that we should actually be less scared of using the word fascist, because when you look at the when you ignore like the specific cultural like differences between like the old fascist regimes and the new ones, when you ignore like all the stuff that's specific to like their culture and history, you see that the similarities are striking.
Yeah, and I feel like you can get a lot into like just semantics, where it's like this technically works better. But I feel like that almost like a lot of times can like benefit some of the like the fascist times. I feel like they thrive on that vagueness. Like I cannot like even like I've seen like legitimately dozens of times people online, which again online take with a grain of salt, saying, "Oh, like these literally self-described fascists like." Mussolini's fascism was very different from National Socialism. It's a big difference. And it's like there's like all like doing that whole like
get those guys in like the YouTube comments, right?
Yeah, and obviously they're the extreme. Like obviously, they're trying to literally defend like Mussolini style fascism, but like I'm a Mussolini style fascist. I'm not a Nazi. It kind of like that vagueness kind of helps them, because they can kind of like distance themselves from the things that have happened and be like, yeah, I'm not like a fascist. I'm just a, I just ultra conservative traditionalist.
I'm not a white or they say I'm not a white supremacist. Well, I'm an identitarian. I'm a white nationalist.
But when they're marching down the streets trying to threaten people for their race and trying to force people into silence and using like violent rhetoric to keep people in check, like what are they? And I feel like words have meanings behind them, and I feel like what's more important than like the justifications that fascists use to justify their existence, like the conditions that created them and like the results that came from it. And I feel like not every right wing movement's fascist, just like how not every like left wing movement's communist or whatever. But I do think that there are a lot of movements that are kind of trending towards it, especially now with just the amount of like hatred and just everyday violence that's been put into it. And that's the thing that's like I think most striking is just how normalized it's become to essentially threaten political opponents now. I mean, it's just like kind of insanity. And even though as of now things haven't really happened, like Trump isn't out here trying to purify the blood of the nation or whatever, but like I don't think Trump himself is going to do anything like this, just because I feel like Trump cares too much about his own interest to actually become the leader of like some fascist movement. But I definitely think that imbued rhetoric's going to influence the future. Yeah,
and it's not even him really; it's the other people that surround him. You know what I mean? His group, the people in charge.
Cronies, the inner circle.
The Republicans in general, they want like fascist.
The in group.
They want the fascist. They want the fashy things. Let's be real.
I will say though, I think it might backfire massively in the long run. Like I'm not fully convinced though that like authoritarianism is popular, because like if you even notice, like they still, even with how authoritarian they've gotten, they still like backbone on like freedom and democracy. I think one thing that's interesting that like Cipher sent me earlier in DMs was like a lot of like libertarian types almost like slowly backing away from the MAGA movement. I think that's just like fascinating because like libertarians, I was kind of like interested
specifically in American libertarians.
It's like they're like so sorry. There's like libertarians in general are so close to making genuinely good points. It's just they're kind of like caught up on some of the things that they don't want to leave behind, and mainly like capitalism. And it's like because they have this idea where it's like you work hard and you achieve success and yada yada yada. And they have this like visceral hatred of like the government, these people who they see as like taking advantage of them, and it's like, and in the context they see it as, it's like gaining advantage of their hard work, and interfering in their thing, regulations, all that stuff. And it's like they can't see past the fact that like for a lot of people, like companies do the same thing, whatever. But I think now that like the right wing and like the undeniable right wing is actually getting into power and actually doing incredibly authoritarian things, and now that these companies, like the things that they like kind of like I looked up to before, are part of that, like are legitimately forming oligarchies or infiltrating the government, like it becomes a lot harder for them to just like tell themselves that it's the fault of like crony capitalism and stuff. And so I feel like eventually they might gradually turn away from it. I feel like it's kind of interesting in general. Like I don't think America. Sorry, you can get. Yeah.
I'm gonna be. Oh my god, I just lost it. Continue.
Okay, I was gonna say I feel like ultimately America doesn't really quite, at least not right now, have the appetite for all an authoritarianism, and I feel like them like MAGA, if it doesn't legitimately take over the country in a pseudo dictatorship, is going to like eat itself from the inside out. Like I think it's going to be like the same type of deal as like the South hitching itself to slavery in the 19th century. Like it works short term and it gets people on your side and it creates this visceral issue to lag behind, but ultimately it not only like weighs you down, but it gives like your opponents the ammunition to destroy you with. And so unless they're able to completely overturn the Constitution, so I think eventually people are going to realize what's going on. Like once it starts impacting people's lives directly, once the right wing continuously like sells itself out to just straight up authoritarianism and reveals itself what they truly are, and like once the dust settles and the opposition isn't scared anymore, they're gonna have nothing to stand on. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
like no nonsense about liberty, freedom, democracy, because they would have already throw that out of the window in a gamble to gain like absolute control and like just like kind of a decentralized, like not even coordinated attempt to do so. And if they fail, then I feel like eventually it's gonna like a lot of people are going to like wake up. Maybe that's wishful thinking. Maybe that's like, and obviously we're gonna have to like try to stand up against that if we don't want them to succeed in the first place. But I am kind of hopeful that like I don't think that they're actually. I think they may have made like a Faustian bar, like a deal with the devil in this
Faustian bargain.
Yeah, Faustian bargain. Like I feel like they got all the power, but it's gonna bring them down in the long run.
All right,
I want to. I just want to say one tiny thing. When you said that that it's not actually Trump backing the far right fascist stuff, or that it's the Republicans behind him, I honestly don't believe that is actually accurate, because like we've seen all these Republicans are super far right and like hitching themselves to Trump get elected in recent years.
Okay, yeah.
But they are, like, if you contrast this with like, you know, the rise of the Nazis, the like all of the Republicans are hitching themselves are old politics and wealthy, right? And with like the Nazis, those were the people that backed up the rise of Hitler to power, but they weren't really the people that believed in all this stuff. They just knew that they would make more money doing it, or like get more power doing it. So like
capitalist.
Right, because like I've seen like so many of these conservative politicians, like they say all the culture war bullshit, but like they don't do shit. They just wait for Trump to like do a thing, and then they support it or deny it based off of like will it like threaten their own power. Like they're not, they like, and by the way, it doesn't really matter because they're still pushing the fascist shit, but like I genuinely think that they've whipped their audience up into a fascist fury that they are just trying to handle. And also I did want to say with Emerald's point on the movement eating itself alive, is that I think that's accurate, because they're currently working off of just rage against any like anything that is foreign. And the thing is that rage, like the leftists have time on their hands, because like, you know, once something becomes normal, it's hard to be mad at it. And also because rage has a ticking clock countdown, in which it will, people can't be pissed off like this forever. And you know, after they're pissed off enough and nothing's happened, then they're going to start getting pissed off at the people that actually have the power.
Yeah,
that's all I had.
I will say that the whole, I'm not sure exactly what the source of where all the fascist rhetoric really comes from, or the fascist things that the people in power are pushing. Yeah, I agree.
I think it comes from Trump.
I agree to an extent that it comes from Trump, but I think a lot of these other people within the orbit have believed these things for a very long time. Like a lot of these big ideologues in the movement, like I think Steve Bannon. I'm thinking Steve Bannon right now. We're all like Tea Party people.
I meant politicians, not like people like Steve Bannon, like figureheads. They are, I think, the ones pushing the rhetoric. Trump is absorbing it and then reiterating it.
Yes. Yeah. I think
or unknowingly, we think.
A bit of both.
I'd say a bit of both. Yeah,
a bit of both.
I'd say a bit of both. He's not an idiot, but he's also not like a firm ideologue. He's just very much a grifter and kind of a fascist.
He's a fascist in praxis, essentially. We're not sure in like
which is that, by the way, that only matters like academically speaking. In like practically speaking, he's a fascist. Even if he doesn't truly believe in it, if he's pushing it and doing it, then he's a fascist, right?
Yeah, like I don't think Herman Goering like believes in like the fucking like half the shit, but he's still, you know, like it doesn't matter if you're just going along with it for convenience.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell, he was hanged.
I want to.
Well, he got out of
the things he did. Yeah. Anyways, we are over.
Killed himself.
We are over like the 1 hour and 45 minute mark. We've been talking for quite a bit. Does anyone want to say any last things? Anything from Omar or Matthew? What do you all think about the discussion so far?
It's been discussed.
I am.
I feel like we
got
should hear from like Omar, Matthew, and Fetus.
I really want to hear.
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit. Okay, this is like walking into Popeyes. Popeyes being the American political system, and then you go to the menu, aka the election, and you say, "Please give me a chicken Popeyes sandwich with I don't know, waffle buns, toasted." And they say, "Okay, great, I got you." And this is a conservative ordering this. You know, they go in the back, they're cooking some stuff up, and they're saying, "Wow, it smells good. It smells real good." They bring it out to him in a bag that's kind of squishy. They take it out, they close their eyes, and like, "Oh wow, I can't wait for this delectable sandwich." Then they take it out, they sink their teeth into it, and they're like, "Oh wow, this is great." And it's actually just a big pile of steaming shit.
I fucking knew it.
Big stinker just in their mouth, ruminating. And then they open their eyes and they realize it's shit, and they kind of like frown a little bit because they realize that they fucked up. But they're just gonna keep going and keep going.
Yeah.
Until they get sick and then maybe die.
They have too much of an ego to admit that they just ate shit. So they'll pretend
they're too politically blinded essentially to realize they're eating shit until they fucking die, right? Which is I think that's a great analogy. That was 10 out of 10, bro.
Too much of an ego to admit that they're eating shit, so they just keep eating it and then tell you that you're just like asleep and a sheeple when you point out that they're eating shit.
Yes, definitely.
It's reflexive.
I think that is the show.
All right.
Fetus, you have anything to say?
Nothing.
Do you have like a joke or something?
Really interesting.
Yeah, like a joke. Anything funny?
Sorry to disappoint. I do not. I have nothing funny cooking right now.
All right. Well,
he's just contemplating.
There's always next time. This is a really great discussion. I'm glad to have all you guys on. This is Afraid of Hungary, by the way, the sister podcast to Cheese Talk. This will be uploaded on the Cheese Talk YouTube channel. There will be a lot of post-production on this one. I'm going to have a lot of fun editing, but I'm afraid I have to stop this recording pretty soon because I don't want to. I really don't want to edit 2 hours worth of content. But yeah. Let's I'll see y'all in the next episode of the Cheese Talk live stream. A little bit different format, but entertaining, I believe, my humble opinion nonetheless.
I did the edit stuff or some of the stuff. I forgot to mention that.
Oh, shout out Emerald. Shout out Emerald Master 5. He did the edit in the first the intro part. And then I think we're gonna work on the edits or the production of this post production of this episode together. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it myself. But yeah, thank you all for watching.
The only new person here.
What do you mean?
I haven't ever been on one before. I just did the clips and added.
I wasn't sure if I was the only.
No. It's just me, Fetus, and Matthew. We've seen Matthew on some episodes of Cheese Talk. I think Hollow Earth and the Santa Claus one, yeah. But yeah, that's the show, guys, and that's the Daily Cheese.